Hey, what's going on? Sorry, I lost the button for a second. I was like, wait, where is it? Oh, okay. I'm super organized, as you can tell.
Before the show starts, me and Jen are talking about all that kind of shit, man. Fucking, I threw the dish away from HughesNet, the fucking radar dish.
Yeah.
Because we put a new roof on there, and the roofers fucking took the radar off, or that fucking dish and threw it down on the ground. And I threw that bitch out. Now HughesNet, we had to cancel the HughesNet. It's a fucking stupid ass internet service. And they want the end of that dish. It's got a $200 transmitter in it. I threw that shit out.
Yeah, so they're gonna charge me $200.
Fuck, man.
Well, they already charged me $160 early cancellation fee. But it's better than a $400 cancellation fee.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And it's better than paying $100 every month for shit that we don't use.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's trying to get out underneath a fucking $100 internet bill that we don't even use that internet.
Yeah, so we were talking about that. And I was talking about how it took an hour and a half for me to get to work this morning because an older woman got run over on US 92. And they blocked both lanes. So I didn't know that till later. Like, I just knew that I thought there was just a wreck. But yeah, a woman got run over and killed. So that's pretty fucked up. So that's how my morning went.
Then there was something else I was thinking about, and I forgot what it was.
You'll think of it in a second. Yeah. I'm sure you'll probably think of it right when I'm talking about something else. And then you'll be like, I just thought of it. And then I'll lose
I was looking at those piercing kits on fucking Amazon. That's what it was.
Oh. That's what it was?
Yeah. There's some other shit that I was looking at, too, but I forgot what it was.
Oh. Is it, you can't say it on a family show?
Probably can't say it on a family show.
I mean, like, this is a family show.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It's really not. Yeah. So if your kids are watching this, then, you know, that's on you.
So it's another Haunting Monday.
Yes, it is.
And on Monday, we always talk about one of the fucking episodes of the Haunting series, which is a classic series now. And today, this was the Attic, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the Attic.
I could have sworn we had done this one already, but I think we watched it.
Ago. Yeah.
Well, no, we watched it, and then for whatever reason, we didn't end up doing. Like, we ended up watching another episode and like doing that one instead.
It's the one about a haunted house, and the woman took a picture, and in the picture, she could see like somebody standing next to her at the sink, like smoking a cigarette, and a screaming face on the other side. They don't show you the real photograph, but they show you like a reenactment of the photograph, which always makes me kind of skeptical, because if the evidence is good, they'll show it, you know. Paranormal Witness, they'll show the evidence that they had. But that series probably sucks now, too. But the first season of Paranormal Witness was pretty good. But this is a good episode. This is a pretty good episode.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't do it at the time. Because I do remember watching it fairly recently. And then I guess we just went to the next episode and was like, oh, let's just do this one instead. Mm-hmm. And then we just never ended up doing it. Because I looked up on our thing and we haven't done this one. Okay. Now, there might be some confusion because there is actually another episode that's called Nightmare in the Attic or
Monster in the Attic.
Or Monster in the Attic. Like something in the attic. I don't know. Some fucked up shit in the attic. Yeah. And we did do that episode. But we didn't do this one, which is just called The Attic.
Yeah. Darkness in the Attic. Monster in the Attic, Monster in the Basement, Darkness in the Basement. All the fucking names of these episodes, it's like they just pulled them out of their hat. They're a generator. You could probably make a fucking computer algorithm that'll just generate.
There has to be one. I feel like somebody has made one somewhere.
Yeah. Ghost Follows.
I like Ghost Followers.
Ghost Follows. Yeah. Okay.
Julian Pope said, I feel that we had done this one too because I remember the dresser being put in front of the attic door. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. But when I looked it up, on our channel, like, I didn't see it in there anywhere. I saw the Monster in the Attic one, but not this one.
It's just, it was probably a long time ago. Probably the old format.
No, it wasn't even that. Because I put all of the shows that we did, like when we did regular episodes about haunting cases, I put all of those in the Haunting Mondays playlist too. So, and I wrote down like all the episodes we had done before, and I could have sworn we did this one, but I guess not. I know we watched it, but we didn't do it. But yeah, so this is actually season 3, episode 2. And this took place in spring of 2000 in Michigan, although they don't say where in Michigan, I don't think. I think they just said Michigan. Like, they didn't really
I don't remember,
because if they'd said the city name, I would have written it down. So they obviously didn't say it because I didn't write it down. So the main lady, like, at the center of this is named Selena Warner. And the actress that's playing her looks a lot like, she's been on other episodes too, but she looks a lot like our friend Imani. So like every time I see her, I'm like, hey, look, it's Imani. So it really does look exactly like her. But yeah, so that's what I thought. I can't remember what other episode she was in, but she's been in some other shit as well. But yeah. So at the beginning of this one, wait a minute. Oh, okay.
Did you lose your place?
No. I was just like looking at the comments to see if anybody said anything. So, okay. So at the very beginning of this, in 2000, Selena has left her husband, presumably, and is, going off to make a fresh start, buying her own house and all this other kind of stuff. So she buys this house near her sister, whose name is Adrian. And she also has a 3-year-old son named Gabe. And I guess Grandma also kind of lives nearby, so she kind of takes Gabe over there to stay with Grandma, like, while they're moving into the house, so he's not underfoot, I guess. So they go into... Now, it's Gabe's room, right, that has the door to the attic, right? It's like, I think, because it's like he has a bathroom in there, and then there's, like, a little cul-de-sac type thing with, like, a door to the attic in it.
I wasn't keeping track of all the little details.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Is the woman in the story related to the ghost hunting Warrens? No. Her last name's Warner, not Warren. But, So that's where the door to the attic was. Now, Selena, apparently, they don't go super, super into this, but apparently she has, like, a phobia about attics. All it said was that she slept in an attic room, like, as a child, and I guess it was, like, creepy or scary or something bad happened to her in there, so it's like she really doesn't like attics, and they, like, kind of freak her out, right? So, so she doesn't really want to, kind of go up there and, like, show Adrian the attic, but they go up there anyway, because she wants to see it, and then they go up there, and apparently Selena gets, like, a really, really terrible, like, headache, like, as soon as she's up there. She said that it felt like her head was filled with fog. That's what the real lady said. And so she's basically like, yeah, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So she goes back down the stairs, and then she said the headache went away, like, as soon as they got back downstairs, like, as soon as they got out of the attic. So she's like, okay, well, we're gonna put a dresser in front of this door, because it's like, I don't really want Gabe going up there, because, like I said, it's his room, and you don't want a 3-year-old kid, like, wandering around up on the stairs or whatever like that. So she's puts the fucking thing in front of the door. Although, I don't know, it kind of bugged me, because I was like, I guess because the dresser was just kind of, like, short, and it's just like, I was like, that looks so tacky. You know what I mean? I don't know why. It's if you don't want anybody to go in there, just take the knob off and put, like, a big dresser in front of it, so nobody even knows there's a door there. I kind of feel like that was. I mean, if you don't need to go up there for anything.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that scene.
Yeah. So basically, they're talking about, okay, so Adrian, the sister, who she doesn't live there, but she lives in the neighborhood. And Selena's like, well, she's kind of like the artistic or creative person, so I was just going to let her do the decor or whatever. Now, said decor in this case pretty much comprises like it looked like one of those fake garlands, like you get at Michael's or something like that.
Something you did for Christmas to go over your house.
Yeah, sort of, except it didn't look super Christmassy, but it kind of looked like ivy, but then with like purple flowers on it or something. Yeah. And like they kind of like strung it. Like, and I just thought that was kind of weird. I was like, that's like a weird. It's not weird to like hang it at like Christmas time, but it seems like a weird thing to be there all the time. But maybe that was a 2000 thing.
Yeah, 90s.
I don't really
late
know.
90s.
Yeah, it's like let's hang some like fake plants all over that. I don't know. It looked really bizarre. So Adrian puts that up there, and later that day, I guess both of them go to the store or wherever, and then they come back from the store, and the garland is like hanging off of there, and Selena's just like, oh well, maybe it just broke or something like that. But Adrian like looked at it, it's like it looked like somebody cut it, and I was like, well, clearly the ghost doesn't like your decorating skills like any more than I do, so that's something. The ghost like cut it down, I guess. So that night, since everything's kind of like sorted out and moved in and everything like that, they go and pick up Gabe from Grandma's house. Now, the whole plan is going to be Selena has to work during the day, obviously, like most people do. And so Adrian is going to come over during the day and like stay in the house and babysit him. You know what I mean? So that's like a good setup that they have going. I'm presuming that Selena is paying her to do this. Like she's not doing it for free. They didn't really say that, but I just presume. So basically what happens then, like later on, I guess like that night, Gabe starts to get like upset and he's kind of like calling for his mom and everything like that, like when he's in his room. And she's asking him, like, you know, what the hell's the matter with you, kid? And he's like, I don't like it here because it's scary. But she said I couldn't really get him to tell me, like, what exactly was scary or what he was scared of, like, in particular. Like I said, he's 3. So I'm assuming he's not, like, super articulate as to, like, you know, why, like, what it was that he was afraid
bad
of.
room, man.
But, yeah, he was just basically like, it's scary, it's scary. Yeah. So Mom's just like, whatever.
He's watching him.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Another feeling.
Yeah, but you know, a 3-year-old kid can't really articulate like that. They're just like, it's scary, it's scary. You know what I mean? So that's all he says. So Adrian, the sister, she comes over the next day to watch Gabe. So Gabe is napping like 3-year-old kids do. And Adrian's like just like laying on the couch reading a book or something like that. And she starts to hear like creaking, like somebody walking around like on the floorboards or whatever. And so she's like, what the fuck is that? So she like gets up and she goes in the kitchen because that seems to be where the noise is coming from. And she kind of walks into the kitchen and the cabinet door is like open just a teeny bit and then it opens wide like by itself, like while she's looking at it apparently. And I mean, I'm presuming that that's really what she saw because the real lady was on there and she was like, that fucking freaked her the fuck out, which it would, I guess. And she said that she absolutely knew that there was somebody in there and that they were watching her. Like, she's checking the door and everything like that. There's obviously nobody in there, but, you know, she said it felt like somebody was watching her. So when Selena comes home from work, like, later that day, Adrian, like, immediately tells her, it's like, yeah, there's, like, some really weird shit going on in your house. You know, I feel like I'm being watched. Cabinet doors opening, shit like that. Selena just kind of, like, shrugs it off, like, oh, you know, whatever. It's probably nothing. That's what they all say at the beginning. But then, that night, or I don't know if it was that night or if it was some night later, they didn't really specify, Selena also hears the same noise, like the same creaking noise, like somebody's walking around. And then when she hears the creaking, then she, like, turns around, and that fucking garland is, like, is like broken again, like hanging right in front of her face, even though it was fine like a second before. And then the kitchen tap comes on by itself. Yeah. So, you know, and she's like wigging the fuck out. She's like, yeah, I don't like that. In my notes I wrote, she runs upstairs to check on Gabe and he's gone. But psych, he was in the can. So, well, it was because that was like a jump scare, you know what I mean? Like, she goes up there and she's like, oh my God, the bed's empty, blah, blah, blah. And then the kid just came out of the bathroom like, Mom, I was just taking a leak. Would you fucking chill out, you know? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, the kid does go to the bathroom sometimes. But yeah, he was just in the can. So, the next morning, when Adrian comes over to babysit, Selena immediately just tells Adrian, she's like, yeah, I think I want to move out. So, I mean, this is literally, I don't even know how long they've been there. It's probably only been like a couple of days or something. But seriously, she just has the tap come on and the garland do that shit and hears some creaking. And she's like, yeah, I don't really want to deal with this right now. She's like, I want to move out. But Adrian, she said that she was actually kind of more curious than scared. And she's like, maybe what we should do is we should buy one of those, you know, they're like those, they used to have those disposable cameras, because this was 2000, like before everybody had digital, although a lot of people had digital cameras, but they, for some reason, they went and got those throwaway cameras, like you have like at weddings and shit like that are like cardboard on outside. And they got one of those, and Adrian's like, you know, I read somewhere that you can go all around the house, and like if you feel like some weird shit, like you think somebody's there, like, and you take a picture, like maybe you'll be able to see them in the picture. So that's kind of like the idea that they're going with. So Selena's like, all right, whatever. So Adrian goes into the kitchen and she's like standing by the sink, and then she's like, Selena, she's like, take a picture. She's like, because there's somebody standing right beside me, like I can feel them standing right beside me. So Selena takes a picture, and then later on they kind of go all around the house taking pictures at various places, and then they go up to the attic, and Selena gets that terrible headache again. And then they show her taking pictures in the attic, and then there's like a flash and she sees kind of like a face, but she didn't say she saw that. So I think that was like some bullshit right there.
Yeah.
Like they were trying
to make the episode more
exciting. Like they were trying to make it more exciting. Yeah, because there's a flash and it's like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? Like a monster face or whatever. But she didn't say anything about seeing that, or she didn't even really react to it. Like the actress didn't even like react to it on the show. Just like, oh shit, oh my head hurts or whatever. And then she like leaves the attic. It's like, you know what I mean? It was just kind of like, I don't know. So, so the next night, Selena has, gone to, back in the old days when you used to have to take your pictures to be developed. Like kids there being like, what does that mean?
What's a photo mat?
What are you talking about? Yeah, you had to like go and pick them up. They had to be printed out on photo paper. So she goes and like picks them up. And one of them, the one that she took of Adrian, when Adrian was like standing by the kitchen sink saying, hey, there's somebody right next to me. There was very clearly, at least in the fake photo that they showed on the show. I don't know what the real photo looked like. I'm sure it probably wasn't quite as impressive. But there was very clearly like a silhouette or like a sort of transparent dude like standing next to her. Like you could see his silhouette like in the window, like on the curtain or whatever. And he was just like standing there smoking a cigarette. One of the other photos also had kind of like a screamy, like ghosty skull kind of face going on. It was, what is it, on like curtain or something like that, or like on a wall? I don't remember.
No, it was on the other side, wasn't it? On the other side of the woman, or maybe. Oh, that's right. They took another photo.
Yeah. Because the one with the screamy ghosty face didn't have a person in it. It just had that face in it. But like I said, that was just the one that they showed on the show.
Yeah, and they didn't show what the original photo looked like.
There's Pookie.
Yeah.
You'd been sleeping downstairs all day. You didn't even come up to see me. She's mad at me.
She doesn't care.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
Yeah,
She's like, whatever, I do what I want.
Yeah.
But yeah. So at this point, I mean, they see the photos. Hey, look, Pookie's on the show. She's like, oh, here we go.
She doesn't really like being on the show.
She doesn't like being in a lap.
Yeah.
Because she's like, well, I like to just move around on my own volition. I don't like to be, like, carted around anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She's relaxing, though.
Yeah. Aw. So, yeah. So they see these pictures with like the ghost in it, and Selena's like, holy shit, like, obviously there's ghosts in my house. What the fuck are we gonna do? Adrian's like, well, I'll help you out. So the first thing they decide that they're gonna do is they're gonna go around to the neighbors and ask them if they know anything about the house, like if there had been like weird shit happening there before, perhaps. Now they find one woman who lives next door. And she tells them, she's like, oh, didn't anybody tell you? And it's like, that's always bad when they start out with that.
Oh, they didn't tell you.
Oh, they didn't tell you about that? Oh, shit. I'm not sure if I should tell you. But yeah, so this woman says, oh, yeah, the guy that lived there before died in that house, like, of a drug overdose. And she said, matter of fact, his family, like his wife and daughter, still live in the neighborhood. Like, they live it's a different house, obviously, but they lived, like, down at the end of the street. So Selena and Adrian go to visit the family, which, like I said, I don't know if I would actually have the balls to, even if I had a picture of what I thought was a ghost that looked like a person, and they said, hey, that ghost's family, like, lives down the street. I don't know if I'd have the balls to go to that person's house and be like, hey, is this your relative? Like, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of funny that they did, but they did exactly that. They go to the house. They're like, this is going to sound kind of weird, but I moved into your old house, and I'm going to show you this picture right here, because it's the daughter that answered the door. So the daughter answers the door, and they show her the picture, and she's like, where the fuck did you get this? She's like, that's my dad. And they're like, yeah, that's what we figured. You know what I mean? But to her credit, like, the daughter seemed pretty cool with it. She's like, yeah, he died of a drug overdose. And she's like, and I feel really bad because we had a really bad argument, like, right before, like, a few hours before he died, like, and I told him I hated him and I never wanted to see him again, and he's ruining our lives and blah, blah, blah. And then, like, later on that night, like, he killed himself, and she's like, so I feel really bad because, we ended it like that. And maybe that's why he's still in the house, because he has, like, all these unresolved issues or whatever. But she does tell them, because they said there was some creepy shit, like, going on in the house, and she's like, yeah, but, she's like, even though my dad was, like, a drug addict, and that was fucked up, she's like, but he was a good dude. It's like, he wouldn't, like, hurt anybody or nothing like that. So if any bad shit is happening in your house, she's like, I don't think it's him. So then, the mom, or like the wife of the dead guy, I called him Crack Dad in my notes. I know that's not very that's not very nice, but that was just like I was trying to write fast, and that was just like I knew that was like what I know what I was referring to. So Crack Dad's wife comes out, and it's like that's the same actress that was shit. She was just in another episode that we did. She's been in a couple of episodes too, like the woman that played the wife. She seemed a little pissier about the whole situation. But, you know, she's like, but she also like saw the photo and was like, yeah, that's definitely him. And she said that's really weird because that's where he always used to stand. She's like, every evening, like after dinner, I would be at the sink, like doing dishes, and he would stand there next to me and smoke a cigarette, and like we would talk and stuff like that. So it's like, it's really weird that that's where you captured him, like in the photo. But like I said, she seemed to get like really upset, and she's like, yeah, I don't want to talk about this anymore, blah, blah, blah. So, Selena and Adrian are like, well, you know, we learned some information today, so that was nice. And she's like, well, they felt a little bit better because of what the daughter said about about Crack Dad, that he's like, you know, even though he was a crackhead, like he wouldn't hurt anybody. And they're like, okay, well, obviously whatever is going on in the house, like bad shit, it's not him. So they said that after that happened, the house was actually pretty calm for a few weeks. You know, and this like nothing weird happened at all, and they thought it had like stopped or whatever. And then Selena comes home, and Adrian's like, check out this weird-ass drawing that your kid did. And it was like a man, but it had, like, instead of a face, he had, like, a big, like, a black scribble type of shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those freaky, like, you see in horror movies. And then, like, while they're looking at the drawing, being like, huh, well, that's disturbing. Then Gabe yells for his mom again. Like, he starts, like, yelling from upstairs where he's sleeping. And when they get up there, they said he was just laying in his bed, kind of like staring up at the ceiling, like all blankly, and he was kind of like feverish. Selena said it seemed like he was possessed. I'm not sure exactly what she meant by that. In the reenactment, he was basically just, well, hi. He was basically just kind of laying there real stiff, like staring up at nothing and like kind of shaking or like freaking out like he was, I don't know, like having a seizure or something. But it was kind of like that. So they kind of freak out, as you would, and they took him to the ER. Now, the doctor there examined him and said, well, he seems physically fine, but maybe this is psychological, you know, because of the divorce and all that kind of stuff. It's like maybe, you know, it's hard on kids that age, and maybe he doesn't know how to express it, and so it's just coming out in these weird ways like that. But Selena is kind of like, I kind of think it's probably the ghost doing it, like giving him all these night terrors and shit. So she decides that she's going to essentially like just buy a bunch of religious crap and like put it all over the house. And, you know, I said, haven't you seen an episode of the show ever? That just makes him mad, you know? She hasn't seen any episodes of the show, I guess, because she's putting shit all over the place. So she's got Jesus pictures and prayer shit and angels and everything, just all over the place. Bless you.
She's back there sneezing. Could be all right.
I guess it's dusty.
Yeah.
But all her little toys are dusty. Yeah. So she puts the stuff up all over the house. Now, later on that night, I guess Selena and Gabe is sleeping in the bed with her. And while they're sleeping, she has these really ugly, like, tacky, like, those praying hands things that are made of ceramic. Except they were purple, weren't they?
They look like they were homemade, too.
They did. And I was like, why purple?
I don't know.
I wonder. That's just like an odd choice. Yeah, it kind of looked like a kid made them like in art class or something. Maybe somebody's kid, like, a member of the crew, like, made them on the show. They're like, we're going to break this shit, though. That's what, you know, spoiler alert. But yeah. So the praying hands that are on the nightstand or whatever, they go, like, shoo, like, flying across the room, right, and just, like, smash into a million pieces. And then, while Selena is, like, waking up, dealing with that, processing that information, then, I guess, like, a picture of Jesus, it just kind of looked like it just fell off the wall. It didn't really fly off the wall. But still, I mean, that's still pretty weird. So, at this point, Selena just, like, picks Gabe out of the bed and is like, and they just get the fuck out the house. So she takes Gabe to Grandma's house while they are trying to, like, sort all this shit out. So Adrian thinks that she can maybe get rid of whatever it is that's in this house by going around rebuking. She's got the Bible, she's got the shit, and she's going around like from room to room, like, you know, rebuking all the, you know, telling them to get out. And in the notes I put creaking and other noises while she's rebuking. That's what I put. So, you know what I mean? There's all kind of noises and stuff. Now, she actually was going to go up in the attic and rebuke some shit up there, but apparently as soon as she opened the attic door, she said she got a really, really bad feeling. Like, if I go up there, like, something really, really bad's going to happen. So she didn't rebuke anybody up there. So at this point, they're kind of like going through all these options because they don't really know what to do, right? So they go to this psychic guy, you know, in town or whatever. But I guess they decided they're going to test him. So they said, when we went there, we didn't tell him we were going there because of, like, some ghost shit. We told him that, Selena told him, it's like, oh, well, I just broke up with my husband. I want to know, like, if we'll get back together. That's what she told the guy. So she pretended that she was going there for, like, relationship advice. That's what she said. But the psychic apparently was really psychic because he did not fall for that. That is not why you were here, he said. He's like, there's ghosts in your house. And she's like, whoa, shit, how the fuck did he know that?
Dude, your friend told me.
Because I know, that's probably what it was.
Well, then, yeah. She said you're coming here about this ghost.
But I'm not going to tell her that because now it looks like I have, like, fucking magical powers and shit like that.
My mind, I can read your mind. This ghost told me.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Murder Hornet said, should go in there dressed up like Jesus rebuking it. Yeah, you never see anybody doing that, do you? I wonder if that would work any better.
Jesus cosplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might work.
I kind of think
Jesus,
it might.
The big heart on the front with fucking rays coming out.
See, that'd be badass.
Yeah.
You could go around like fucking, you could rebuke shit all day long.
Dress you up like Mary with a little baby. Definitely wouldn't be the Virgin Mary, though, just Mary. No. Just Mary.
And we can have Pookie, and Pookie could be the baby.
Yeah, Pookie be the baby Jesus.
Just be out there going.
Yeah. You're out there fucking throwing holy water and confetti and shit. Be gone, bitch. Be gone.
Like Rip Taylor.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
exactly. Oh my God. Oh. Flaming your ass off.
Again, probably younger people like,
they don't know
who the fuck are you
Rip Taylor was the gayest man to have ever lived.
Well, I don't know about that. In a world where Paul Lynde existed.
Yeah, that's true. Well, but fucking, yeah. Paul Lynde was a totally different, cut from a totally different cloth.
That's true.
Fucking Rip Taylor was like the ultimate fucking 60. He was like 19. He was probably about 60 years old.
Yeah.
And he was really famous. Big old fucking mustache and curly hair. Look like Maud.
Very vaudevillian.
Yeah, and he was just gay enough to crack the belt of the earth. Fucking,
pretty much.
Yeah. Thor would have been impressed. Yeah, he was just real.
He was on a lot of those panel shows and Hollywood Squares and stuff like that. That was kind of his shtick, was he was always like throwing confetti and glitter and shit.
Just the ultimate old queen. That's what he was. Yeah.
Zach said
he was funny though. He was a comedian.
He was actually kind of funny. Yeah. Zach said, only reason I know about Rip Taylor is because he was on an episode of George Lopez.
I think it was funny.
Okay, so Zach does know who he is. I just kind of feel like I'm getting to, and it'll happen to you too. Like if you're not that old, but you get to a point too where you're making references and stuff like that, and then you have people just looking blankly at you.
Yeah, no, that whole fucking scene was when we were little kids.
Yeah,
off of television.
Yeah.
Game shows.
Well, and they were old when we were
kids,
old when we were
little
so
kids,
they were like old then.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like almost like our parents or grandparents.
And game shows were basically live on television if you lived in California, and they were drinking on the game shows like Hollywood Squares. You could see them fucking raising their glasses and drinking and fucking going. It was daytime television was good back then.
Because everyone was hammered.
They were fucking hammered. Yeah. Because they record them all in fucking. They record them in batches, I guess, and I guess they'd be in there all day drinking, and they'd be fucking slammed.
Yeah. One of the funny things that I was thinking of when I was just thinking about making references that younger people don't get. Yeah. When I was at work, the girl that I replaced was real young, and like also like the other guy that like works in my department is also like pretty young. And this other woman that works in accounting, who's a little bit older than me, I think she said she was 55, but she said that one day she said something about the Big Mac song, you know, two all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, blah, blah, blah. And she said something about that, and both of the kids, she calls them the kids, in the graphic design department just looked at her like they had no idea what they thought she had lost her mind. Yeah. She's like, the Big Mac jingle, you know. They didn't know what she was talking about. And I said, well, I remember it. But yeah, so that's just, but like I said, it'll happen to you too. You'll be like, if you were born in the 90s or the 2000s, you'll be like referring to something from back then, and like people just look at you like, what are you talking about, old person? But yeah. So back to the psychic. So the psychic, whether or not, we don't know who told him like about the ghosts and everything, but he knew about it apparently. But he says, now to his credit, he did say that he's like, well, I don't have the power to do that. Because you'd think that, you know, most psychics would be like, oh, I could get rid of that problem for you if you, like, you know, hand over some fucking money. But he apparently did not say that. He said, I don't really have the power to get rid of spirits. That's not really, it's above my pay grade, I guess. And he's like, well, why don't you go to the church for help? But that doesn't go too well, because I guess Selena, I guess she wasn't like super religious or anything. So she's basically like calling all the churches in town being like, hey, you want to come over and bless my house? And no one was available. I'm like, really? No one was available? What the fuck else are they doing? Nothing. That's what. So it's like, I don't really know why they couldn't spare somebody to come over there for an hour, but whatever. It probably wouldn't have helped. It probably would have just made him mad, made the ghost mad, because it always does. But yeah, so she says she can't get any of the useless fuckers out there to bless the house. So they decide that they're going to call this kind of local paranormal investigation group that they had heard interviewed on the radio. And this was actually the Southeast Michigan Ghost Hunter Society. I don't know if they're still around or not. They said that it was, I think their names were, I'm assuming it's a married couple, or it might be brother and sister, I'm not sure. They had the same last name, so I'm not really sure. But I think they said the woman's name was Brenda, and the guy's name was Brad, and I think they said their last name was McCulka. That was something like that. I couldn't really hear it that good, but it sounded like McCulka. So the two of them come to do an investigation. They also have a team psychic, whose name was Mary something. I didn't catch the last name. Milka, something like that. Because, like I said, I can't hear all that good, and I'm trying to like write down stuff really fast. And for whatever reason, I think we mentioned this before, because I almost always have, when I'm watching something, I always have closed captioning on, because like I said, I'm deaf as shit, and I can't really tell what people are saying. So, but for whatever reason, our haunting discs don't have closed captioning. So...
yeah, that's weird.
That's really weird. So I guess like the production company was like, fuck the deaf.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's nice.
They didn't want to spend extra money to get the captions on there.
I guess not.
Nowadays they just use AI.
Yeah.
To go through there and do it. But
it's not great, the AI, because, you know, our YouTube videos, after a while, like it generates its own captions. And it's okay, but like some of the shit's not good, but especially like proper names and stuff. Which, you know, that makes sense that it wouldn't know that. But yeah. So the psychic, she comes in the house and was apparently drawn to the attic. I don't know if they told her beforehand. That's where all the shenanigans were happening, but whatever. And basically she tells them that whatever entity this is in the attic is like sucking everyone's energy out like they do. And basically also wanted
charging money for that?
Right, yeah.
Usually it costs money to get something
to get your energy sucked out.
I need some of this energy sucked out. What's this going to cost me?
I guess this ghost is doing it for free.
Yeah.
That's nice of him.
Yeah.
But the weird thing about it is that he seemed to be like sucking energy from everybody, but then the psychic said too that he wanted everyone out the house because they were like intruding. And I was like, well, you think he'd want people in there like for more energy suckage. But you know what I mean? But I guess
we're
not.
gonna get you on some energy suckage. That's going up on OnlyFans.
Energy suckage.
Energy suckage.
Zach said, also, I love attic bedrooms because of the weird roof lines. Yeah, me too. So I don't know what What's-Her-Face was complaining about. I would have dug that as a kid. Yeah, me too. I always kind of wished... I never lived in a house with an attic. But, you know, not a real attic that you could, like, have a room in. But we just have, like, attic crawl spaces, like, everywhere we've lived recently. But I always, like, I'd see that in movies sometimes. I'd be like, man, that's so cool. Like that fucking... Well, wait, the room in Amityville, like, with the scary windows, that wasn't really the attic, was it?
No, it wasn't an attic. I don't think. I think it was somebody's bedroom.
Well, no, but I mean, an attic can be somebody's bedroom, too. Like, you can sleep in the attic bedroom. That's what we were talking about. But I was just saying, in the Amityville house, that wasn't technically an attic.
It wasn't an
I
attic,
guess.
no. It was just a top bedroom.
Yeah. But I do like those, but some houses do have, like, attics that have been converted into bedrooms, and they have, like, those slanted roofs and stuff. I like that.
But I hadn't seen the movie in a long time, but I think it was just a top. This is just a bedroom up there. I don't think it was an attic at all.
Melissa is laughing. I totally remember that, Tom and Jenny. Oh my god, telling my age now.
I don't know
what like Rip Taylor or the Big Mac song.
I don't know. There's no context, people.
Crowley says one of my friends had a door to the attic in his bedroom. Yeah, that was the situation in this house too. Apparently, like the little 3-year-old kid had the door to the attic in his bedroom. So yeah, the paranormal team, they put a motion detector thing like in a camera like up in the attic because, like I said, that's kind of where a lot of the activity was going on. Now in the basement, the psychic senses Crack Dad, the ghost that I call Crack Dad. Like I said, I know that's mean, but that's just like what I called him in the notes. And she knows that this isn't the ghost that's causing the problems because she's like, I didn't sense any hostility from this particular ghost. He was just sad. And apparently she figured out that he wanted to kind of like make good with his family before he crossed over. Like he wanted to, you know, see if they forgave him or whatever because he'd killed himself and like fucked them over. So while Selena and Adrian are being interviewed by one member of the paranormal team, the attic motion detector goes off, you know, when nobody's up there. So they go up there and they look at the footage, and it's basically just orbs. I mean, they showed the thing, like, it looked kind of impressive on the show, but I'm sure that's probably not what it really was. It was probably just like a couple dust motes in front of the shit.
Yeah,
I'd
orbs
imagine.
Are always dust. Every orb
or
I've
bugs.
Seen, or a bug.
I've never really seen any pictures of orbs, so it's like I don't even know why that's a thing. Well,
I know.
Well, yeah, I know why it's a thing, but I'm just saying it shouldn't be a thing because
dust in front of the camera.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what it always is. I've never seen one that wasn't that. So there's kind of orbs, and it's like these ghosty kind of things going around. They're just like, whoa, that's awesome, blah blah blah. And then like Selena, her head starts hurting again, like it always does, like when she's in the attic. I guess that's the energy suckage causing her to have like a migraine or whatever. Now, after several hours that the team is there, they have determined that, that there are two spirits, which, you know, they pretty much figured out anyway. There's Crack Dad down in the basement, who's the sad one, and then there's, like, the asshole one that's up in the attic who knows who the fuck that dude is. They never said that the entity or whatever it was in the attic was like a person, but they also didn't say it was a demon, which is nice. That was refreshing. Because I kind of feel like they always are like jump into, well, there's a ghost in the house, but he's nice, but then there's this other one that's demonic, you know what I mean? But I don't think they said demonic on this one. I think they just said that it was like an entity or like a darker inner, like, I don't know. But it was just like another ghost and he's a jerk. So, Selena basically is like, well, you know, the nice ghost can stay if he wants to, but that attic fucker has really got to go. Like, I can't, like, live in the same house with that dude. So the team is just kind of like, well, basically what we think is that the attic ghost is just real territorial, and maybe if you just, like, stay out of the attic, like, stay out of his, you know, territory, then maybe he'll leave you alone. Although that really doesn't seem to be working thus far, because as far as I know, they had been staying out of the attic, like, by and large, and he was still, like, fucking with them, so I don't really know, whatever. But yeah, they're like, well, if you stay out of his way, like, he might not fuck with you. So, at this point, they send, like, the 3-year-old kid up back to Grandma's again, until all of this shit gets sorted out. Now, at this point, which I thought was kind of weird, so the daughter of Crack Dad, who had used to live in this house, right? She just, like, shows up unexpected. She doesn't call or nothing, which, you know, that's a little bit rude. But she shows up, and she, with another psychic, or a spiritualist or something. she shows up at the door and she's like, I'm sorry to just burst in on you like this, but, you know, I want to come in here and, like, talk to my dad's ghost, basically. She's like, I want to, like, tell him I forgive him and blah, 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 and maybe that will help him move on. And I was like, well, you could have called, but okay. So, so they show up, and she goes down, and so, like, Selena and them are like, well, maybe if she, you know, goes to, you know, Crack Dad Ghost and, like, talks to him, and he passes over, like, maybe that'll get rid of the asshole ghost, too, like, they're kind of hoping. I don't know why it would, but okay. So, the spiritualist, this was weird, because the spiritualist lady, like, she went up to the attic, which is not where the Crack Dad Ghost was. He was in the basement, right? And she goes up there, and she's got, like, blessed salt water and all that, and she's, like, splashing all that around in the attic, and she's talking to Crack Dad, even though she's in the attic, and there was another ghost up there, which presumably they knew about. I don't really know. But, so while she's up there, she apparently senses the asshole ghost instead, and is like, yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. So the daughter goes down to the basement and, you know, talks to her dad, or, like, the ghost of her dad, telling him, you know, I forgive you, and blah, blah, blah. So apparently the Crack Dad ghost, like, he crossed over. And so the daughter comes up, and she's all happy and everything, and she's like, I think he's gone, and blah, blah, blah. So Selena and Adrian said, yeah, the house felt a lot better after that, like, a lot calmer and less tense and everything. So it's like they presumed that, you know, he had been forgiven, and he had forgiven them, and he'd gone, like, over to the other side or whatever. So after this incident, the house, they said, was peaceful for a few days. And Selena goes to Grandma's house and gets Gabe back home because she thinks it's safe there now. Because she thinks that the asshole attic ghost has also fucked off. But apparently, this is not the case, because Adrian is watching Gabe. And I guess she hears a voice. I couldn't make out what the voice said, though. I didn't know if it was, like, someone's name, or I didn't know what it said, but it sounded like, blah, blah, like it said something, like, in her ear or something, and I was just like, I didn't catch that. But then Gabe like, the little kid, he starts having, like, another episode where he just, like, goes over on his back, and it's almost like he was having, like, an epileptic fit or, like, a seizure or something. Like, he was just laying there, like, staring at the ceiling and kind of, like, freaking out and sweating and everything. And so Adrian, like, runs over to him, and he's like, there's nothing there, because he was, like, standing up, staring up at the ceiling. And then, like, Selena comes home from work, and Adrian's just like, holy shit, like, look, it's happening again. And so basically at this point, this was kind of an abrupt ending, but they basically were like, all right, we're out of here. So they just, like, packed up their shit and left. Like, and they apparently did not come back to the house after that. And Selena said that, she's like, as soon as I was out of the house, she's like, I just felt like an enormous weight, like, lifted off my shoulders or whatever. And evidently, they just didn't go back. So I guess, like, the asshole ghost was still there. And she said, like, later on, like, at the end of the show, she said, I just kind of hope that asshole in the attic, like, that he's not there anymore. Because, you know, I would hate to think that he was, like, fucking with the people that live there now. But that was pretty much, I was like, wait, that was it? Like, because it seemed like it was building up, and then, like, the kid had another episode, and I thought, like, some other big thing was going to happen, or they were going to do, like, a big exorcism or something like they usually do, but they didn't. I mean, basically, they were just kind of like, oh, well, they just got the fuck out. Yeah. Which, like I said, was probably, like, the smartest decision, and I kind of wish more families would do that. I know that they can't, like, it's not practical. I mean, you know, if something happened like that, it's like most people can't afford to just, like, up and move, like, at the drop of a hat, even if something's, like, really bad. But
I don't know what to make of this case. It wasn't there. There's not a lot of corroborating evidence, you know what I mean? Not a lot of witnesses really kind of came forward. You know, the police weren't called. If it happened, it's a bad house, you know, I guess.
Yeah.
Ghost. But, I never really seen anything like that. I've been in a bad house and I've seen poltergeist, but they're very different. They're very different. Poltergeist is all about moving stuff. A bad house is about being watched, but nothing really ever moves. You can't really put your finger on it. Just something wrong about the place. This is kind of a mixture of everything. Things were moving. They were seeing apparitions. Evidently getting photographs just that made them think that there were ghosts in the house.
Although I would really like to see those actual photographs.
Yeah. When they don't show the actual photograph,
I'm always suspicious.
I get suspicious. They're not showing the actual photograph because it's not convincing, if you ask me.
Yeah, so they probably had somebody Photoshop like a better one.
Yeah, well, that's what they showed.
Yeah.
You could tell that was Photoshop. So, you know, I don't know. Not enough information really to make a judgment on it. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. Maybe parts of it happened, and maybe other parts of it didn't.
If it was true that they took pictures in the house and they went to the neighbor's house and the neighbor actually recognized I mean, that's pretty weird. But I don't know if that happened the way that they showed it in the show.
If that
you never
happened
know
that way, you'd think that they would show the actual photo.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, if the photo was clear enough that somebody would be like, holy shit, that's my dad.
Right.
Like, in ghost form. Zach said, I saw some posts on a UFO subreddit, and there are people legit thinking some fucked up lens flare their camera was making was one. Like a UFO. I mean, that's the thing. If they really want to believe it badly enough, then anything will be that. And I think that's how that whole orb thing started, because it's not like they were going around getting like these really kick-ass pictures of like apparitions and shit like that. So, you know, every now and then you'd get an orb in front of the camera, like some dust or like a bug or something, or, you know, you get part of your thumb in there without realizing it, and you're like, look at that, it's like a fucking, it's, you know, it's a spirit, like in the picture.
Melissa gave some context on what she was talking about.
Oh, drinking on the games. Most of them were on drugs or drunk or both. Good times. Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell they were coked out, some of them.
Yeah.
Charles Nelson Riley, coked out. Yeah, there's another one.
I kind of feel like a lot of them were coked out back then.
And in between shots, you can see them putting the glass down. They'd have a fucking scotch then behind it. Especially Hollywood Squares. Hollywood Squares, they were fucked up. Especially towards the end of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell they were drunk.
Because like you said, I kind of feel like they probably, because they were only like half-hour shows. Well, not even half hours. It's like, I think they were 24 minutes, like with commercials.
Yeah, so I think they'd do a whole week's worth.
So they'd probably do like a whole week's worth of them in like one session, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and they were drinking the whole time, partying. And they wouldn't hide the fact that they were drinking. Towards, you know.
Well, it made the show better.
Yeah.
Well, especially something like that. But the thing about Hollywood Squares is that I don't know how much of that... I mean, they made it seem like a lot of it was improv.
I think a lot of it was.
And I think a lot of it was. But, I mean, I know that there's, you know, TV magic that they can use to, like, make it seem like, oh, they're just coming up with this stuff on the fly, and maybe they write it ahead of time. But I don't know. A lot of it did seem like it was improv.
Well, that center square, we just named him fucking... What was his name? Fucking...
Paul Lynde.
Paul Lynde, yeah. Paul Lynde was the center... He ended up being the center square. And he was just fucking loaded and funny the whole fucking time. Just them calling his name, people would start laughing. He was the best. He was the best celebrity in the Hollywood Squares.
Yeah, that dude was hilarious.
Fucking hilarious.
He was like super bitchy. I just like, I love that.
You can see all that old shit on YouTube. They have those old game shows. They also had the Liars Club. I love the Liars Club.
Yeah,
it's where you had comedians. And they would give them a strange object that you couldn't identify, and the comedian would sit there and lie and tell some kind of story of what this object was, and the contestants had to bet who was telling the truth. You know, 5 of them would be lying, 1 of them would be telling the truth. You had to put money on who was telling the truth. And man, they had Buddy Hackett on there. They had all kind of guy from Hogan's Heroes was on there. You know,
who, Bob Crane, the one that got murdered?
No, the blonde-haired guy.
Oh, okay.
Who played the American pilot, I think. Or the British pilot, I forgot. But they did have different ones on there. I liked that show as a kid. Joker's Wild, I fucking loved it. 70s Joker's Wild.
I really liked Joker's Wild for some reason.
Yep.
I think I liked it because when I was a kid, it had that scary Joker face. And I was like real into scary shit. Well, I'm still into scary shit.
Old Family Feud was fun. With Richard Dawson.
Yeah, I used to
he'd get drunk on the fucking show and be groping people's daughters and wives and shit in the middle of the fucking show.
Yeah,
remember he was a perv.
He's a bit rapey.
Yeah. Yeah, funny.
Bit rapey.
You could get away with that kind of shit. He's obviously fucking toasted towards the end of the fucking week. He's fucking he's lit.
Yeah. Danny Rowling said the hot brunette sister in this episode played the psychic in the Haunted Barn episode you just did. Yeah, that's right. I thought she looked familiar. See, I'm just kind of like, I think all of the actors in this were in other episodes, for sure. Like, she was in the barn one, and then the woman that played Selena that looks like our friend, she was in some other stuff, too. And the woman that played Crack Dad's wife, like, or widow, rather, she was on one episode that we just did, like, it was that one where there was, like, it was that one where there was a thing in the basement where she saw, like, the guy, like, dragging the two girls down into the basement.
Oh, man, I can't remember that.
We just did it a couple weeks ago. Like, I can't remember what the name of it is, but she was the mom, like, on that one.
Oh, the guy that was, the ghost that was molesting the daughter.
Right. Yeah.
And they died in the car wreck.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah,
But, like, we just did that one, like, a couple weeks ago. That was the same woman that played Crack Dad's wife on this one.
Like,
the
widow. Something about it.
Has anyone watched Paranormal 911 or Paranormal Emergency? I think that's the title.
No, I haven't seen it.
I have not seen it. What was the one that we started watching? Was it on Netflix? What was it called? 28 Days Haunted or?
I don't know. Oh,
some
that
shit
one,
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started, like, I liked the premise of it.
We got like 15, 20 minutes
but we
in
got
and
like 20 and we're like, nah, that seems kind of boring.
Yeah.
It isn't, I don't really like, I like the reenactment ones more than like the ghost hunter style
like
shit where it's just like
taps and shit.
Right, where it's just like guys sitting around like in night vision camera being like, did you hear that? You know what I mean? I'm like,
I heard that.
Like, I
heard that too.
I didn't hear anything. I'm like, you guys are making that up. Did you guys see that? I feel cold. I'm just like,
there's something here.
See, that's like not, at least when you watch like a haunting or paranormal witness, at least like it's like a reenactment, so you can see, so it's kind of interesting, and they try to keep it interesting. Those the ghost hunter ones where they're just like sitting around waiting for some shit to happen and then pretending that something exciting is going on. Other than Ghost Brothers, I like Ghost Brothers.
Ghost Brothers was fun,
But I liked that.
Was a lot of that was goofing off.
That's what I mean. Yeah. But see, they were funny and they were like charismatic.
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like a lot of the paranormal investigators aren't really. They're not like entertaining in their own right. Whereas Ghost Brothers, they were just like funny. I would have just watched them even if they weren't looking for ghosts.
I don't know if that program's still around.
Probably not. But it's like, I really like that. They were funny as shit.
Make the dude just sit in the fucking dark room. And he's like, man, fuck this.
That's right.
Man, I can't take this no more. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, it was super funny, and they were always kind of like fucking with each other, like because they knew that they were all like really scared.
They were scared to go.
So they were like making them do like scary shit.
Make them do shit to get themselves scared.
It's like they were like psyching themselves out. It was like really funny. Zach says, by the way, it looks like there's a bunch of drama in the paranormal community. A bunch of Zach Bagans' former co-hosts are outing him as a huge douche. Is that really outing him though? Because I thought everybody knew that he was a huge douche already.
That was the guy from Paranormal U, right? You Paranormal.
No. That's the Ghost Hunter guy.
Oh, the Ghost
Hunters.
Hunter. Right.
Yeah. That's like the OG.
The other guy was fucking stole everybody's money.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Zach Baggins is the guy that kind of looks. I always want to say Bilbo Baggins. Zach Bilbo Baggins. It's not. I know it's not spelled the same, but he's the guy that kind of looks like he would be like in a '90s alt rock band with the spiky hair and.
No, I don't know that one.
And he's kind of like buff and.
I don't know that one.
You know what I mean? You'd know him if you saw him.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's. I don't know why he would have to be outed as a douche. I was pretty sure everybody knew he was a douche, but that's just kind of how he comes across. All right, so you ready to wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up, like I said. So thanks everybody for dropping by this evening, and our next show is going to be Wednesday night. That's going to be our main show, and I'm sure a lot of people are excited about this because I had a lot of people recommend this, and it actually won in the poll. We are going to be talking about the investigative journalist Gary Webb, the guy who, well, he didn't necessarily uncover it, but he kind of like sort of got it out into the public, the whole CIA, like, and the crack epidemic thing. You know what I mean? And funding the Contras and all that. Okay. So, and then he ended up dying by suicide, supposedly.
Yeah.
So
shot in the back 3 times and then hung.
Well, it wasn't quite that bad, but yeah, there is some. Well, I don't know how much question there is about like his death, but But all of the stuff he uncovered, like about all the shit that was going on in the 80s,
Yeah.
with the CIA funding the Contras and and selling crack and all this.
Yeah.
I mean, the CIA wasn't selling crack, but you know what I mean. They were indirectly
What's called black budget fundings.
that
Coming
kind
from all
of
that
stuff.
kind of shit. Yeah.
Zach says, "Oh, Final Fantasy House didn't win." I know. We'll get to it one of these days. I keep putting it in the poll, but it like never wins. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's what the show is going to be about Wednesday. So hopefully you guys can join us for that show. It should be a good show. And yeah, hopefully you guys have a good rest of your evening, and we'll see you guys again on Wednesday.